and welcome to an hour of minestrone soup. It's all the juiciest bits from my last series. Now, choosing which parts to put in was actually surprisingly easy. We just got a pasta jar, and I put some hairspray in there, shoved all 10 programmes in, and then put it on the hob. Obviously, some of it got shredded, but luckily we've ended up with Will Carling talking about Princess Diana, we've got Eddie Irvine talking about women, and Jermaine Greer talking about men. Then there was the bit when I lost an arm wrestle to Boris Johnson. I campaigned fairly vigorously for that to be put in a microwave oven and destroyed, but I was overruled, so it's in, along with the bit where Vinnie Jones invites me to his local pub on a Sunday for a fight. Apart from that, it's the usual stuff. Someone comes on, says something, I argue with them, then I blow up a vegetable, abuse Mr. Prescott, and say something unkind about the Americans. I hope you enjoy it. I've got a flat which overlooks the Harbour Club. Now, I used to see you going in the morning, this wasn't reading about it, and then you'd see Diana going in. What was happening behind the closed doors?
Well, it was a secret tryst in front of about 300 people.
Yeah, not me, I couldn't see.
Oh, we would have come out and had a cup of coffee and just in the car park.
Well, why didn't you?
Well, we didn't know you had the flat there. Obviously, otherwise I would have said, you know.
So what was going on?
Jeremy's up there, I don't know what he's doing.
Well, if I
he's finished.
I've got to say, it hasn't exactly been like sitting talking to a rugby player. Are you trying to be a new man?
No. Are you coming on to me? Or... do it afterwards. I get shy. No, I'm not. No, but I've never been. I think that's half my problem is I've never been a rugger bugger. I love playing rugby, you know, and I do, and I love part of it. But then I would never sit around in a bar with a blazer, you know, sort of with a beer, saying, "Do you know who I am or who I was?" And they go, "No," and I don't care either.
You are far too rich, all of you, aren't you?
I tell you what, the wages are going to change now. In the next 4 years, 5 years, the wages are going to go through the roof, which is great. But, you know, there's up until this year, there's very few guys on more than $2 million a year.
Oh.
Very, very few. But as a world-class sport, that is, you know, you'd Michael on megabucks, then you'd...
How much is he on?
I think Michael's on about 25, something like that.
Million?
Yeah.
Dollars?
And then you'd the next big drop to say Jack, he was on $10 million. You know, and then...
And you were on?
No, I couldn't possibly tell you that. I was on... Oh, no, behave. Wouldn't get out of bed for that in the morning. No, but...
Because you've already got the boat, the yacht. You sold the helicopter, didn't you? Why did you sell the helicopter?
I was too toyed up. I was too exposed to the luxury goods market. And I wasn't using the helicopter that much because I was in Italy most of the time. The helicopter was based in Ireland. I sold it to the guy who works for me, Alan, who flies the jet as well. How
old are you again?
Huh?
How old are you
I'm
again?
a lot older than I look.
It's just sitting there, I'm just quite cross with you, that's all. You know. How many women have you slept with?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't count.
What's your fastest ever chat-up line?
When you're famous, as you probably know, although you're very ugly, so it might be more difficult for you.
It's really getting cross with you now.
When you're famous, I don't know if you know, but life becomes a lot easier. You could actually be, you know, you could be quite physically disabled and still do well if you're famous.
Look at Robin Cook. David Mellor.
Good example.
He doesn't know what we're talking about.
I'm never in England, so I don't know these sort of... I'm never here.
You've never heard of Robin Cook?
No. What's he do? I haven't been in England for 4 years.
It's
5
all right,
years.
he's foreign secretary. You might have seen him traipsing through Italy.
I'm surprised I haven't seen him in Milan then.
Yeah, little red beard, not handsome. Ever sat around in your kitchen wondering if you have the right materials to make a potato bazooka? I have. And it's good news, because you only need a spaghetti jar like this. Don't need the food. You need some hair care products, like this, and there we are. All the ingredients you need to make what is an effective vegetarian war machine. OK, what you do is you fill this jar with hairspray. Now, as you can see, it starts to condense there on the side, and it'll trickle down into the bottom. Now, you give it as much as you can till there's a noticeable lake at the bottom. OK, we've got that. And then we need a potato, which we get. Make sure it's just about the right, or it fits the circumference of the jar as best you can, and then knock it in. I find a rolling pin works best for that. You just knock that down, right the way to the bottom. OK? And it's loaded. Now, what you do at this point is pop it onto the hob and, well, light it. Come on. There we are, that's lit. And then you retire to a safe distance. I've kind of got Cornwall in mind, though I'm told this is going to be enough, because it does have quite a range. And who'd like to see that again in slow motion? Run it again. Come on, let's see it again. Look at it. That's just the best thing ever.
The average woman sits in her car at this sort of level in relation to the windows, you know. She doesn't know how long it is in front, how far it extends behind. And as for the sides, when she comes to something which is slightly narrow, she goes a fit of the willies. Everybody else must pass me. I'm not going past them.
Statistically,
Which is why they're so dangerous in Range Rovers.
I would say, though, that statistically, women actually do have... I can't believe I'm arguing the case for women. Here goes. They
I know
do
exactly
have
what you're going to say.
fewer accidents than men.
Of course. Because most drivers are men, and men see a woman at the wheel of a car and they take avoiding action. They say...
This is fantastic. I'm not sure this is allowed anymore, is it? This is Jermaine's most recent book, this one. It's called The Whole Woman, anyway. And it's for women. It's useless, Jermaine. There's no recipes in it. There's no coupons. There's nothing. Have you ever thought what it would be like to be a man?
Yes. Ooh, ah. To have sexual fantasies 3 times, what is it? Is it 3 times a second or 3 times a minute? I get confused. But it must be just so vile to have that thing dragging around all the time with its own ideas. You get on the bus and it suddenly decides to look about. And you can't get off the bus. I think it would be the worst thing in the world. I can keep my secrets, you can't keep yours. I can tell if you're willing, unwilling, able, unable. You can't fake orgasm. I can't imagine life without being able to fake orgasm. You want us to bear children. It's called travail. It's
well,
called
I can't
labour.
bear children.
Pay for it. But
I can't bear children.
Oh, you'll be able to soon.
I won't.
You will.
I won't.
They'll be able to attach a fetus to your bowel. They've already done it once. The headlines were, now men can have children. And I thought, gee, we're going to wait for them to be knocked over in the rush.
If we're inventing it, it'll be on our arms, or somewhere convenient. Put it here.
I think on the dashboard.
On the dashboard is a much better idea.
The why should you? If you can have, if women's bodies are not necessary to gestate babies, then they're going to gestate them just anywhere. We're going to be getting babies out of pigs, you know, babies out of glass-fronted cabinets.
Compost heaps.
Yeah, but then you'll do without women altogether, I reckon. You'll say, oh, excuse me, we don't really need you anymore. You people with broad hips and these lactating
We need
breasts.
shagging occasionally.
But you can shag anything.
Well, not pigs and compost heaps.
Of course you can shag a pig or a compost heap.
This is getting
and what's
surreal.
more, you don't have... But the important thing is you don't have to talk afterwards. You don't have to cuddle. You can just get it over with.
I don't know, some pigs might want talking to it.
I don't think so. Actually, what we are told is that transsexual prostitutes understand a man's needs better than women prostitutes, and so they're doing bigger business.
I don't know. Look.
Haven't you looked in your local phone box lately? Haven't you seen who's
There are no
numbers are in there?
transsexuals in Chipping Norton, right? That's just a fact. They just aren't any. Let's move on. Your breasts.
On to a more serious subject.
Yeah.
With a bit more depth, yes.
Are they real?
Are they real? They most certainly are real, yes. I mean, I don't take them off and put them in a jar at bed at night.
So that's all yours?
No, I must admit, they sort of sprung at 16 and then I had them souped up about 4 or 5 years ago, so, yes. But they will feed my children, which is what they're meant to do. Mm-hmm. And that's all they're meant to do. And they'll be very healthy children. Very well fed.
You know what fascinates me? Well, they'll be fed on silicon.
No, they won't. Mammary glands are placed above that, you see. That's the implant's put beneath that, so it doesn't affect everything else.
What do they feel like, you know?
You're not going to find out. That's where that's going, isn't it?
Well, no.
You'll have to just take my word on that. Take Wayne's word for it. They feel very nice, thank you.
I was kind of rather hoping he'd say...
I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
I don't really know what to say now.
I don't know, unless maybe, you know, we could do a mutual feeling thing, but no, let's not go there.
Let's move on to something a little more useful in an everyday context. Feeding babies. Now, we all know the problem. Your favourite TV show's about to start and you find that your baby is kind of disinterested, distracted, mardy, won't eat. Well, I may have a solution. What you need is a simple party popper, such as you'd get at any joke shop. Now, you take out a little cardboard base and discard the streamers, which you don't need, then simply fill it instead with whatever it is that your baby happens to like. I mean, I've got here some tender chicken with carrots. So we get that filled up like so, that'll do. And then we must remember to put the cardboard back in, OK? And we just take aim and... Now then, earlier in the year, I tried my hand at being a reporter for the BBC's holiday programme. They sent me to Namibia, which is a former German colony on the west coast of Africa. And to be honest, my report really wasn't very good. You see, I recorded this bit where I said that no Nazis had run away there after the war. I said I'd been assured of this by a Mr. Adolf Hilter, who runs a post office on Bismarckstrasse. And not to put too fine a point on it, the director went nuts. He explained that so far as the holiday programme is concerned, Hitler never existed. And not only that, no one's ever been shot in Miami, there's no such thing as typhoid, and there are no turds at all in the Mediterranean. No, none. You see, you don't talk about unpleasantness on BBC One at 7 o'clock. What you talk about instead is things like ancient myth and legend.
Nearby Gubbio is medieval, down to the stories which accompany its stones. They say if you walk round the Fontana dei Matti, the Fountain of the Mad, 3 times, you go mad.
OK, basic rules then. You use music, you talk about legend a lot, and no matter where you get sent, be nice about it. So bearing all that in mind, I thought I'd try this holiday presenter lark again. And this is what I came up with. If there is a heaven on earth, this is it. Rotherham. It was was heavily industrialised, but today it's the fashion capital of this part of South Yorkshire. I spent an hour or two in the market checking out the bargains. I even tried my hand at haggling. Right, that's splendid. Now then, I'll give you £2 for that.
Oh, no, you don't. You give me £3. Now, fuck off that, man.
It may be a long walk to the beaches, but with 2 rivers and a canal, there's no shortage of water sports. Cheers! It's at night, though, that Rotherham truly comes alive.
You prof.
I spent the next morning taking in the sights and smells of Rotherham's incredible gardens, which are dotted around all over the town. But it's more than one big nature reserve. Rotherham is a town steeped in ancient myth and legend.
Local folklore has it that if you drive round this roundabout often enough, you'll run out of petrol.
Eating out here is a simple pleasure where you're faced with a bewildering array of local delicacies.
I'll have a kebab butty, please.
Okay, thanks. That's gorgeous. And you can wash it all down with a nice pint of the local brew. They call it beer.
Local folklore has it that if you drink enough of this stuff, you'll have a fight. My bet is you'll want to come back to Rotherham time after time.
I travelled with Last Resort Holidays. Prices are based on 4 people buying a house. Oh, and don't worry, they include all fights and transfers. This is the thing, Terry. Only this week, the MP for Rotherham took umbrage at something I said last week and has said in a press release, which has been quoted in a lot of newspapers, that Jeremy Clarkson is a patronising, self-important, snide, two-faced, self-hating, arrogant waste of an NUJ card, if he has one.
It's hard to criticise that, isn't it? He seems to have got to the nub of it there. But, I mean, you haven't had a bomb threat, have you?
Have you had a bomb threat?
Certainly have. A bomb was sent to Broadcasting House.
What for?
By this...
Someone who didn't like your record?
A Unabomber sent this bomb to Broadcasting House, and, of course, the BBC, in its usually calm and collected way, panicked and phoned everybody, and the police blocked the traffic from Broadcasting House all the way to Oxford Circus. London came to a halt. And I was on my holidays.
You're not up with Teflon Tony, are you? We are Tony's people. And whether you like
I am
it or
not one
Jeremy,
of Tony's people.
You
He's
are
a
one
tosser, and I hate it.
I'm afraid you're not on message yet, but you will be. Everybody
I will not
is.
be
Everyone
on...
gets on message.
I
eventually.
won't be on message.
You will be.
I will not. Now,
You
answer
will,
the question.
Jeremy.
You should be in politics.
But you can imagine somebody, they have a meeting, Michael Heseltine, they sit around and somebody says, we've got to do something to celebrate the millennium, you know, because it's such a worthy, vital thing. Well, why don't we build a huge dome in Docklands? Why not? What a great idea! But where did that meeting take place? Because since then, there have been huge armies of people whose whole job, whose whole purpose in life is to try and make that ludicrous idea that happened one dinner party or something, about 5 years ago.
That is a dinner party decision, isn't it? Oh, a brilliant idea. Huge dome! Yeah. We'll fill it. I don't know what we'll put. Yeah. No, I'll tell you what I love about...
In Dockland.
Yes, in Dockland, where everybody lives.
Yeah.
I read it.
Yeah, I've got a great idea. Well, you know the M11? We'll build a great big stretch of the M11 all the way down there, especially for the dome, which is what they've done.
Yeah.
Only John Prescott comes along and says, they can't, because we can't park people. We don't want people coming in their cars.
Yeah.
So you actually have to park at St Albans. No, you have to park at St Albans and travel by public transport, which we all trust on this programme, don't we?
So let's just get that straight. You buy a car, you pay the tax, you pay the VAT, you pay the VAT on the tax, you buy a tax disc, you fill it with fuel, pay the tax on that, and then you're supposed to think, no, I'll leave that at home. Prescott, you deluded Welsh imbecile. You used a car this week to go 8 feet. Understand, man, we will not use buses. How much would petrol have to go up, do you think, before you'd say, oh, I'm not going to use the car anymore?
A hell of a lot. 10 times.
I think these bus lanes are very confusing and the transport policy is a complete joke.
What do you think of John Prescott?
I think John Prescott's an absolute twat.
Oh, gonna have him round for dinner. Of course, to make the idea of public transport more appealing, we now have the ultimate horror, the M4 bus lane. Prescott says 50 buses an hour use this stretch of motorway, which, hang on a minute, is not even 1 a minute. No one is going to use a bus unless they have an urgent and overwhelming desire to get some chewing gum on their trousers. Or they're rich enough to buy their own bus. Look at that. The Prescott Express. What a great idea. Yeah. Nah, I got rid of the Ferrari. No, it's too cramped. No, I've got a Volvo. Yeah, sort of estate, yeah. OK, take care. Bye. The beauty of this is that it would drive Prescott insane. I mean, a whole bus for one person. It's so massively wasteful. He'd never allow it. But he is allowing it. The great bus myth is that each one is full of 50 smiling motorists who've left their cars at home. They're not. They're empty. They're just getting in our way, causing more congestion and more pollution, and also some silly old bat can get to the post office a little bit quicker to buy a tin of cat food. The best thing that you can do to get Britain moving again is to ban buses and post police marksmen on motorway bridges to shoot people who are driving too slowly. Joking aside, you do court controversy. There's been the M4 bus lane.
No, I don't court controversy. I kind of... They think it's dear old Terry. So who cares?
But Prescott, presumably, have you heard from him?
No, because he probably thinks, oh, it's only Terry Wogan, what does he... You know, what about him? Somebody wrote to me this morning and said, you know, when you call him J2J, Johnny Two Jags, that's not... His original name was not that. His original name was the mouth of the Humber.
But you know he's Welsh. He was born in Prestatyn.
What you going to do?
Well, I know what you're going to do.
What's you going to do? No, that bus lane. Come on. You know, I travel in on the M4 every morning, and this will be of tremendous interest to everybody living on the line north, drawn from St Albans to the Wash. But we go down the M4, and the bus lane never has a bus on. I've never seen a bus on it.
I once drove a bus down it, but that's been it. Yeah.
I've seen 2 taxis and an empty bus. And it's on the outside lane. Now, if you're going to have a bus lane, wouldn't you have it on the inside? Wouldn't you have bus stops where people could put their hand up on the hard shoulder? It's another world.
It is. It's Mr. Prescott's world.
It is. Old John Fatty Two Jags, I think you call him.
Yeah. Chopper.
Sure.
He uses a helicopter a lot.
Oh, I
these
see.
days.
Thank goodness. I thought you were passing him a compliment there.
Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about a disease that was brought to Britain by some gypsies in the 13th century. Today, in this country alone, there are estimated to be 500,000 sufferers. It's called owning a caravan.
Makes you completely mad. I mean, these people live in houses with a wide variety of rooms to suit their every need. They have heating, they have plumbing, but every year they leave all these creature comforts behind and spend a week in a field, defecating in a bucket. Now, I'm not being stupid here, OK? I know you can have fun with a caravan. Look. The thing is that caravanners wouldn't be such a nuisance if they drove like this. But they don't, do they? It's hard to see what the problem is, really. I mean, I'm towing a caravan now and the road's completely empty. I haven't seen another car for hours. That's because I'm suffering from owning a caravan. I haven't looked in my rear-view mirror for a year. Look at that queue! I'm just pottering along, looking for somewhere nice to park up for the night. See, that's the thing about having a caravan. You can stop in any beauty spot and ruin the view for everyone else. Of course, these days you don't have to defecate in a bucket. Today's caravan sites have modern washing facilities, so that's great. You can shower with a load of other men. Eventually, though, you have to get back on the road network to go home. And that's where I have a couple of tips. You will be holding up the other traffic, so why not put on a show to keep everyone amused? You could perhaps put a television in the back window. Or, better still, get your teenage daughter to do some work for a change. Look, he doesn't mind being held up now. He's happy! So what was the moment, then, when you think you became an it girl?
I think, well, I know that was when I did the cover of Tatler in '97, of which that was something they created. They called it The It Girls, Normandy and I on the cover of Tatler. And it was a whole sort of... It just took off, didn't it?
Did it? Who's Normandy? Well, it was a place. Who is Normandy?
Well, Normandy was on the cover of Tatler. That was when the whole
Well,
thing
you were
started.
in Normandy?
No, Di, you know exactly
don't
what
know
I'm
who
talking
Normandy
about. Well,
is.
have you done your research?
Yes, on you, not on Normandy.
Yes, well, have you done your research? OK, well, I was on the cover with another girl, and they
see.
said, these are the it girls of our time.
OK. Talking of lovers,
Oh, God.
you've just had a really wild time.
I know, the love rat.
Was he?
He wasn't quite what he presented to be.
But you got engaged to him.
I know.
In what, 20 minutes?
Well, Jeremy,
It was
you may
quick.
laugh, but I had just come out of a clinic, and I had a great big hole there saying I'm feeling empty, and I feel, you know, that he came at a perfect time, and, well, I'm not going to say he filled the hole, because that sounds disgusting, but he did. But he did. He filled the void.
Which is now empty again.
Which is, no, there was a big gap, and...
Well, you know.
I'm trying to be really dignified. It's the first time I've done anything since Frank Skinner. I come on here and I say...
You once planted a story that said that Derek Hatton, he of the...
Militant tendency and now talk radio, yeah.
Scouser man, was going out with a girl, actually an old girlfriend of mine, which I knew to be rubbish.
Right, so did I.
What?
So did I.
You knew it was wrong?
I knew that they were... I knew that they would be seeing each other.
But they never did.
They did see each other.
Yes, they
saw each other in
I've
Xenon, which was a nightclub that were paying me fortunes to do their PR, and it was the front page on one of the national papers a few days later. OK, what I did was to put the ingredients together, bring it to the attention of the editor, They go along and then they do their own thing.
But
Total
you're telling
rubbish.
me that you're making these stories up?
Absolutely, and have done for years and years and years. But you see,
So
Jeremy...
David Copperfield and Claudia Schiffer, they never did...
Well, no, all I would say, having seen David and Claudia together, is that David and Claudia are very much in love. David with David and Claudia with Claudia.
So how do we know, then, when we read a Max Clifford story, whether it's true or utter rubbish?
OK, if it's showbiz, if it's film stars, romances, you know, I've representing a lot of major American stars over the years and created, you know, wild romance, wild relationship when they've been gay.
Yeah.
Because if the truth are out, they've been ruined. I mean, you know, go back a long time ago. Go back a long... Well, there's no point...
Whoa, which one of these
Jeremy,
big American is gay?
I've heard that you know.
Are we talking Hamster Man here?
Oh, no. Yeah, Freddie Starr is a long way from being a major
Not
Hollywood
that
star.
Hamster Man, the other one with
No, I don't
the
think that was a hamster. No, I don't think that
was a
hamster.
gerbil?
Well, if you tell me, I'm sure you'd be better equipped to know that than I would.
How big a deal is it to be a Formula One driver for Ferrari in Italy?
It's only a big deal if you're doing well. You know, I'm lucky that I had 1 year of mega stardom in Italy, and now hopefully it'll die down a little bit. And it's great for getting into restaurants, nightclubs, and
Is it like a get-out-of-jail-free card as well?
Yeah.
You really can't. The police just will let you off any...
I remember once I just bought a Lancia Delta Integrale. It was the first one I ever had. Of course, just took it out and immediately they're a fantastic car. And obviously I was playing with it and seeing what it could do. And I didn't realise the police were behind me. And they were pushing like hell to keep up with me. Anyway, I backed off. Next thing, this police car came past me and sirens, arms out the window. You can imagine what irate Italian police are like. And they pulled me over and they bang on the windscreens of the car. You see the two of them bang on the windscreen of my car. And then they go...
Have you ever lain awake at night wondering what would happen if you plugged a pickled gherkin into the mains? I have. So, let's find out, shall we? We put the live wire in there, and we put the neutral wire in there. So just get this arranged properly, OK? And then we are going to hit it with 240 of Her Majesty's finest volts. Look at it! That's just amazing! Coming soon to the Ann Summers Winter Collection. OK, like in the last series, we'll be looking each week at a different country. And this week, it is Iceland. 2 million years ago, it didn't even exist, but then the North American continental... What's that doing here? Let's have America on this one. The South Canada Sea. As I was saying, the North American continental shelf pulled this way, and the European continental shelf pulled this way, and the Earth sprang a leak. In 1389, one of the 30 active volcanoes, called Mount Helge, blew up, killing nearly everyone. These are Icelandic men. They're big, they're hairy, and they have no dress sense. Most importantly, though, they're away, plying the killer North Atlantic for cod and bream, and here's what they leave behind. And on a Friday night, Iceland's beautiful, lonely girls go out, drink themselves stupid, and sleep with whatever happened to have landed at Keflavik that day. They say that when you leave Iceland after a visit, you leave a little part of yourself behind, and they're right. It's the contents of your testicles. Did you know that Reykjavik now has, and I think it's the first of its kind in the world, a penis museum?
Yes. We appreciate our national treasures.
These are mostly animal penises, aren't they, and fish penises?
As at present.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Icelanders will want to donate their
Huge.
national assets into the museum as soon as possible.
Why do you hate the Americans so much?
We hate them. First off, you think you hate them. Try living next door to them for a while. Canada, we live next door to the Great Satan. We're like 668, the neighbor of the beast. We live... They're just, it's like living next door to this crazy alcoholic family. We wave at them every day and hope they don't come over, you know? In Las Vegas, the woman that ran the part of the hotel I was in knew I was a Canadian and knew a little of Canada, like back bacon and toques and how are you, eh? And my room was next to the pool, and on my way out, I went, your hockey rink melted. She actually looked at me and went, it's a pool. Get a map, you freak. What the hell's wrong with you? Like, for instance, see how you've removed America from the map?
Yes.
The average Yank wouldn't know it's not there. Americans, honestly, Americans would just assume we must be the big one on that side. I can see my house from here.
And you have a border with them.
Next to America, in the snow, amongst the French. So if I say it's nice to be here...
OK, now the country we're looking at this week is Spain, which in the afternoon is closed. This is because the Spanish like to go for a nap. They even have a word for it, siesta. And a word, too, for all the things they're going to do tomorrow, mañana. Of course, we have two words for this sort of thing, too. Lazy and bastard. Now, it costs Britain roughly £1 billion a year to be in the EU. We give them £6 billion, we get about £5 billion in subsidies. Now, the Spanish do things rather differently. They pay £3.7 billion to be in the EU and take £7.8 billion in subsidies. A net profit, then, of 4.1 billion quid. Now, technically speaking, this is what an economist would call a shitload of cash. The Spanish have even nicked our cuisine. You can't go anywhere on their filthy south coast without being offered the enticing combination of chips and fish, which they probably nicked from the pond in your garden. But then, this is better than the national dish you get over there. It's called paella. Let me show you how it's made. Basically, you take some rice, we've got some here, and we put it in a dish like so, OK? Then we leave that to one side so the flies can crawl all over it. OK, we then go for the prawns. Now, you have to peel them, which, of course, in England is a bit of a chore, but the Spanish love this, of course, you see. It's great. They're a race, remember, who like to poke holes in bulls and torture donkeys. And remember, Drop the Dead Donkey over there's a game show. So they pull its legs off, you know, rip its eyes out. They enjoy it very much. Right, so we've got the prawns like this. Now, we must make sure the middle bits don't go in. There we go. Shells go in like that. Good meat there. I'm only halfway through. Next we take an egg. Like that. And then we garnish it, really, with whatever you can find, really, in your waste bin. What do you think of British holidaymakers? Are we the worst tourists?
No, I would say no. That would be very unfair. I would say,
I strongly advise you stop eating there.
I would say, the worst tourists we ever had are the Romans.
You are a bone idle race, though, aren't you? I mean, this business is... Yeah. Dave, you wake up...
No way.
You wake up, have a siesta, and then go to bed.
Yeah. Wake up, have a breakfast, go to work, have a lunch, that is like 2 hours lunch, with a bottle of wine, maybe 2 courses of, you know, alcohol, and then who wants to go to work, you know?
Now then, when Indians come to live in Britain, they choose to settle in Southall or Birmingham, which leads us to believe that Southall and Birmingham must be better than India. Well, let's have a look. This is Birmingham, right? Pretty grotty. And here's Southall. And this is what they left behind. The highway code over there contains just one piece of advice. Look out. Now, part of the problem is that Hindus believe in fatalism, that whatever will be, will be. So if you pull out to overtake and have a head-on crash, it was your day to die. There is nothing you could have done to prevent it. And the man you hit while overtaking, well, it was his day to die as well, along with all the passengers on his bus. That's magnificent. It totally frees you up from any sense of responsibility. You could drive like a maniac. And it gets better because to a Hindu, dying is no big deal. You'll simply be reincarnated as something else. Just last week, this was Mrs. Surinder Patel of Acacia Avenue, Bombay. And yes, here's the man she crashed into, Mr. Rashid from the post office. There's something I've always wanted to know and I've never got it. This, right? Yeah, that. What is that?
Achar.
What?
Achar.
What's achar?
You know, it means yes and no. Because we Indians are very polite. You don't want to hurt anybody. You can take it any way you like.
But the awful thing is you go to a railway station, is this the right platform to go to Calcutta?
Well,
what does it mean?
Well, it means if you're looking for this train, it could be here. If you're looking for the other train, it may not be here.
There now follows a public information film on behalf of common sense.
This simple and rather boring story about a simple and rather boring man begins 38 years ago in the picturesque Devon countryside. Born into an equestrian family, he was sent to an agreeable prep school and then to a public school famous for the sporting prowess of its students. From there, it was natural he should go to the Sandhurst Military Academy, where his love of horses stood him in good stead for a commission in the historic Household Cavalry. It was in this capacity that he met a beautiful but unhappily married princess, whom he shagged. And there you are, the life of James Hewitt. Now you don't need to buy his tawdry little book.
So what do you reckon to James Hewitt, then?
Everyone makes their own decisions in life, don't they? And I don't necessarily agree with what some people do, and but you know that's their choice, and that was his choice.
So you don't think he's a wanker?
Do you?
Slight wanker.
Tosser.
Just on a personal note, okay, I prefer rugby to football. And I think we've got a picture now which kind of demonstrates... You see, this to me is a rugby player, okay? Yeah, now can we see a footballer? There we are. In his dress. There's been that... What's that French Arsenal bloke who spat at someone? I mean,
Vieira.
spitting. I mean, it's nothing. Rugby's a good, you know, kick him in the face.
Well, rugby is... You can't. You mustn't kick him in the... You can do basically everything else. Good punch. You know, it's perfectly acceptable. You know, the referee might say, no, really, don't do that again. or not while I'm watching. But honestly, forwards are amazing. They sort of they punch each other to pieces. They stamp all over each other, and you'll catch them afterwards. They sort of go, God, it's like you got me that one, didn't you, in the first half? And he goes, yeah. He goes, it hurt. Actually, it was a good one. You know.
How many fights have you actually had in your whole life?
Thousands.
You have said that all the incidents that you were involved in were either accidents or blown up out of all proportion.
You stand by that?
Bit of both, I think, yeah. I mean, I was... in my younger days, I was a bit wild, and things used to happen before I knew what was happening. It was red card or handcuffs.
How come I've always missed out on fighting?
Well, you're always sitting in a car, aren't you, driving around every day? You want to get on the streets and have a drink with the boys. I'm sure you'd have a good... Come down to our pub on Sunday and you'll probably find a couple of fighters.
No. I just want to explain this to you, OK, right? The thing is I was the first civilian to go in the back of an F-15 jet, and then Boris was the second. Now, I owned up on television to vomiting in it.
Yeah, I know.
And you came back and wrote a piece in the Telegraph, and you said I was a big girl's blouse and you weren't sick. I put it to you, Johnson, you're a liar. Well, you were sick. You can't possibly have not been sick in the back of that plane.
No, I wasn't, actually.
With eye contact? With eye contact?
No, I wasn't. No, I absolutely honest Injun, I wasn't.
Well, then they must have been wusses with you. How many G did you have?
I did the whole lot. And I actually, unlike you, I flew out over the sea and went supersonic. Yeah. And not only that, we did a bombing run.
I did a bombing run.
Yeah, no. I bet you when you took over, I bet you they didn't give you the controls.
Oh, they gave me the controls for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
How long did you fly?
2 feet. An hour. I can't remember how long it was.
It wasn't ages. 40 minutes. That was why I was sick, is because every time you flew...
you complete big girl's blouse. Anyway, you are... No, but I'm not going to have this, because I did much more than you. And plus...
You did not!
No, yes,
you did not do more
Yes,
than
I did.
me.
Yes, I did. Plus, I'm stronger than you. Jeremy, I really don't. I mean, I don't in any way want to, take your achievement away from you. You were the first chap in the plane.
And the best.
Yeah, well, you did jolly well. You did jolly well. And they much enjoyed cleaning up after you.
And guess what I've got? Yes, look. It's the culinary nuke. But of course, you're thinking, turkeys can't fly. Or can they? Have you ever wondered if your bin could somehow be converted into a mortar? I have. So let's find out, shall we? Here is the bin, into which we must put really a great deal of hairspray. I do suggest you go for 2 cans on this occasion, and you don't want a puddle in there so much as a sort of reservoir, really. I think that's probably about enough. Good. Now, we must insert the turkey. In you go, stop protesting. And then we're going to have to put it on the hob like so. Because I want to point it at that television, which I think is about right there, showing a period drama look. Won't be for much longer. Now, to stop it rolling over when the explosion takes place, we'll put some bananas in, like this. There we go. And clear the blast area, because we don't want to damage these precious pots and pans. Right, I think now we just simply turn on the gas and retire to a safe distance. Community service needs to be tougher, and I have a few ideas on that front. You know how they used to fit hideous gargoyles on boats to ward off evil spirits? Well, that sounds like the perfect job for a young offender. Sentence him to 80 hours being the front of a boat.
Or what about turning joyriders into human car alarms? I think it might be a good idea to plant them on motorway embankments as sapling holders. Or, and this is my particular favourite, they could be guide dogs for the blind. You know, they're always sending young offenders on diving holidays to the Red Sea and on safari and so on. Well, that's got to stop. If you must send them abroad, send them to Kosovo, where they can be human minesweepers. Most programmes these days, including this one, are being broadcast in widescreen. But what does that mean? Well, if you're watching it on an ordinary television, it means you can't see the edges of the picture. They're laughing because they know what's there. You probably think it's no big deal, there's just bits of studio, but you'd be wrong. Because to my right we have Sammy, and to my left we have Anita. What they're going to do now is take all their clothes off. Away you go, girls. Stunned silence. Now, you can perhaps see the odd glimpse of elbow and shoulder, maybe even a hint of bottom. But people with widescreen television, and that includes the studio audience who have widescreen monitors, they can see so much more. Look! That's the view they've got. Oh dear, the director's turned it off. And because you don't have digital, you can't get it back, which is a pity because this is very good, isn't it? And this is nothing. You should see what goes on at the edges of the Antiques Roadshow. Hugh Scully goes the whole way. But, well, we don't. We know the bounds of public taste and decency, so we're going to stop it there. Thanks, girls. It's all such rubbish compared to what I had when I was growing up. I mean, I've got here a record player, OK, which you probably won't remember. It was in the days we had vinyl, and on it...
They're called decks these days.
Decks. Well, it's a record player. And on it, we've got the best of a band called Curved Air. Are you familiar with Curved Air? No. Just listen to this, OK? OK. Ready? Now, this is music.
Jeremy's bollocks.
DJs are now earning more than pop stars.
Yeah, too right.
But it's just ridiculous.
DJs earn a lot of money because they can take a club and they can build the atmosphere and they make the club what it is.
It's easy to make the club work. You just put Hi-Ho Silver Lining on and everyone will play.
So many of your paranoid delusions come out on this programme, Jeremy.
Willies, mostly, isn't it?
Yeah, on the
we'll
way
get
out...
on to breasts for you later.
Magnus, on the way out there, Magnus bumped into me and asked me if I'd donate something to a museum. I didn't quite know what he was saying.
And baddies, too.
Baddies you can see from the beginning. Nowadays, they might as well almost give them a wax moustache they can twiddle. Once again, in Titanic, as soon as the boyfriend walks on screen, you think, he's a bad guy.
He is, and do you know how we know he's a bad guy? He lights a cigarette. This is the key now. All baddies in all American films smoke. That's how we know they're
I didn't
bad.
realise that was the case. Not being a smoker myself, obviously I'm not being tarred by that particular brush.
You should smoke.
I smoke the cigar occasionally.
No, it's not enough. You should smoke cigarettes.
OK. I think I might start. I'm going to start with the patches and work my way up.
OK.
Easy and gently.
And then... they like the smoking. Yeah. And then you'll notice this smoking business, because as soon as someone lights up in a film, you go, he's the baddie and I want a cigarette.
So once again, you watch movies in a most peculiar way. You ever sit back and just enjoy a film?
No, because they do baddies English smoking.
Yes, yeah, you see, that this I do find somewhat worrying, is the fact that it used to be that when there was an American movie with a bad guy in, it was almost always a Russian. because they feared the Russians. And then suddenly the Russians were no longer a threat. And I think they now see Russia as an area which they can colonise. It's one of the last places on earth where there aren't loads of McDonald's and Coca-Cola plants. And we've already got more than our fair share, so they're not worried about us anymore. So now they'll make us the villains.
Yeah.
So you get the nicely spoken Englishman, presumably with a cigarette.
Yeah.
Occasionally a moustache. And they're the bad guy.
And that was in Independence Day as well. When they went to the Iraqi the fighter squadron waiting for instructions from the Americans on how to shoot these spaceships down, they had English accents.
Yeah, but they see Americans, Iraq, Ipswich, it's all the same. They cannot differentiate.
In a fight between James Bond and Indiana Jones, who's it going to be?
Well, I think James Bond's got more gadgets.
No, forgetting the gadgets, a simple, straight punch-up. It's got to be James Bond.
No, I think that James would be more worried about getting his suit creased, you know. So I think Indiana Jones would be rolling about on the floor, and I just don't think it's very English for James to be doing that.
No, you'd just let him roll around on the floor, then kick him in the face.
I don't think he's been brought up like that. I think he went to the same school as you.
Let's go back to the first day on the set of On Her Majesty's, OK? You were marooned up in the top of a mountain with all those girls in the Joanna Lumleys and so on, all those amazing girls at Blofeld's place.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story about that. Just to relax, I think the crew were having a bit of fun, and they said one morning, you're going to do this scene with all the girls around the table. We're going to pan underneath the table and show this girl writing a room number on your leg. Yeah, right. And so
number 8, I just know that.
They said, do you mind if we have a bit of fun with her? I said, no, not at all. So they got this pot of water and they put this huge German sausage in it. I didn't know what the hell they were doing, but I was just looking at this thing. I thought, that's a big sausage. And then,
not to an English
and then they went... and then they went and camera taped it to my leg underneath the table. And I could feel something going on, but I didn't know what was going on, you know. And meanwhile, the actress next to me had to put her hands out there, and this was supposed to be the big laugh. So they said, turn over, and away they went. They panned the camera under the table. Her hand went down on my leg, no reaction from her. All the guys were there scratching their heads, you know, saying she must have missed it. And then after the shot was over, she said to me, you've got no pants on.
Let's start, shall we, with a plate full of ordinary silver foil. What have we got? Oh, look at that! Indoor fireworks.
Poor Marrow, look at it. Look at this.
There it comes. Open up the door, put them on the thing. Ready? Absolutely fantastic. It's all on fire. We pour it onto our cheese and onto our bread, and then we light it. You then just add a little bit of garnish. There we go. Oh, look at the poor little egg. It's working, look! One of my experiments has actually worked! Oh, marvellous! There we go. Well, that should do.
Next tonight on BBC Two, a voyeuristic sci-fi thriller. Ralph Fiennes stars in the dark, sensational and unsettling Strange Days.